Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I actually wrote a bit of MATLAB code, as I found that you could, to record audio and save it as a WAV file. So I've just set the sampling rate, the bit depth, the channels that we'll be using, and the duration, which is going to be 2 seconds. We're going to save this as audio recorder and start recording. You can use this command here, record blocking, to record in, and then audio data equals get audio data, audio recorder. So we're just getting retrieving our audio data and saving it as the file myname.wav. And then, so I can just do that quickly here. Loop Crawley. So now we can read in the audio file that we just created. So I use IPFS, which will save the audio data we'll read the audio data and the sampling frequency from the file. So we use audio read, it's a function for reading in a audio file, myname.wav, which is what we saved it as in the previous code. And then we use sound IP, which is our audio data, and FS, so it plays at the sampling frequency. And then we can click play here. Loop Crawley, and it plays the audio file back. Okay, so next I'm just going to plot the speech signal in the time domain. So I need to make a time vector, which is done using t, which is time is equal to 0 to the length of IP, which is our speech data minus 1, and then we're going to be dividing that by the sampling frequency fs, and then I can plot t, which is our time vector, against IP, our speech data, and then we can label the y label, which is used to label the y-axis, as amplitude, and then we can also label the x label to label the x-axis as time in seconds. You have to bear with me, I'm a bit slow typing. Time in seconds, yes. And then when we play this, Loop Crawley, it'll sound it because I left that little bit in. And then we get a plot here with amplitude on the y-axis and time in seconds. And it's over 2 seconds. So next I'm going to create a variable called tone frequency using the following command, tone free. And I'm also going to create a variable called noise cutoff. And then when I run this code here, it's going to create these two variables, which are frequencies of, should be here, our tone frequency is of 2501 Hertz, and our noise cutoff frequency is a frequency of 19,034 Hertz, which you can see over here as well. So next I'm just going to create some noise and add it to the signal, and add a tone. I'm going to add a tone as well to the signal, so I'm just going to quickly comment these out just so they don't randomize again. Then I'm going to save this as ns is equal to rand n, and then I'm going to use the function size to make sure it's the same size as our speech signal IP. And then I'm going to use the butter function, save these as B&A coefficients. B&A is equal to butter. It's going to be a 6th order Butterworth filter, and we will use butter to create a high pass filter. So I'm just going to put in our noise cutoff, which is 19034 in Hertz, and then I'm going to divide that by fs divided by 2, and we're going to make that a high pass filter using high. And then after we've created this butter filter, we will save our signal as ns again, but we're going to filter it using our B and A filter and our original signal ns. So just to reiterate, our fs divided by 2 there will normalize the frequency, and then I want to create a signal which is the speech signal plus the noise and a tone. So we need to make the tone first, which is tone is equal to 0.1 times cos 2 times pi times our tone frequency, which is 2501, and then we're going to multiply that again by our time vector t that we created earlier. And then next I want to add them together, so I'm going to make sig, which is our signal, new signal now, that's going to be equal to ip, our original signal, plus ns, our filtered signal, plus our tone. And this tone is going to save itself as a row vector, and we need it to be a column vector, so we are going to put a little comma there, and then when I run this, that should all work. Oh, sorry, I just realized I added in too many brackets there, so if I run that again. Now, sorry, hopefully this will work now. I was just missing a plugin there for the butter function. So if I click run on it now, I'm just going to have to recreate the tone frequency and the noise cutoff, because it deleted those variables when I was installing the add-on needed for butter. So now, just change my butter to 6 times, or 6, and then we have 17,547, and then we are creating our filter, and then we're going to tone. Our tone is going to be 2 times pi times 1905 now, as this has changed. And then we're going to make the signal, which is going to be the addition of our sound, our original sound, our filtered sound, and our tone. There we go, that's worked there. We have our signal here. So next I'm going to design a second order filter. So I'm going to design the second order filter here using the A is equal to, we're going to use butter again. I should actually have it installed this time. It's going to be a second order filter, and we're going to use our noise cutoff, which was 17,547. Divide that by 2, and then normalize it with fs divided by 2. And then this is going to be a low pass filter. So next I'm going to draw the signal flow diagram associated with the system. So I'm just going to display my B and A coefficients. Actually, it might be easier for me to just do this in the command window. So there we have our B and A coefficients, and then this could be a bit of fun. I'm going to try draw them in Paint. So we have our input X of N, and then our output is going to be Y of N, and then we will be adding them together. So first we are going to take our first B coefficient and multiply it by our signal, which is going to be from MATLAB 0.2049. So we'll put 0, I'm just going to text this in, 0.2049. We're going to be multiplying our signal by that. And that will be going into our adder here. Next there'll be a delay, and then we will be multiplying it again by the next B coefficient. Sorry about the drawing here, which was 0.4097. So I'll text that in again. 0.4097. And then next we have another delay down here, and these are supposed to be D's, and then we will be multiplying that again by our third, the next B coefficient, which will be from MATLAB 0.2049, which is, I'll text that in, 0.2049, and then I'll connect these up like so, up to our adder, and then we are going to have our A coefficients. That will go to Y. We'll have a delay here, and we'll have we'll have 0.3774. That's positive now, because this will be changing from a minus to a positive value, so that's 0.3774. So 0.3774. And then we need to draw our next delay down here. And we'll be multiplying again by minus 0.1969. 1969. Minus 0.1969. And then I'll just finish drawing this all up, and that will be our signal flow diagram complete. So now our difference equation will be y of n. I'm just going to type this out because I'm not going to be able to make it legible if I write it out in Paint. And it'll be y of n is equal to 0.2049. Let's make this a bigger text field. 0.2049 x of n plus 0.4097 x of n minus 1, and then we have another plus 0.2049 0.049 times x of n minus 2. And then we have our y's, which will be plus 0.3774 by y of n minus 1. And then our final coefficient, which is a minus 0.1969 times n y of n minus 2. So next we need the first 3 inputs of the system. So I'm just going to start working the command window, and it's easier. So sig 1 through 3. Use the colon operator there. Apologies, I'm just going to use sig. I need to use brackets here. Bracket 1 through colon operator 3. And that's going to give us our first 3 inputs. And then I'm going to go back to my diagram here. And I'm going to create a new text box. And we're going to have our 3 inputs. So x of n is going to be equal to, let me just open up MATLAB, 0.1024, 0.1024, and then 0.0999, 0.0999, and then we have our next one is 0.0876. 0.0876. Okay, so these are going to be our 0.1024 is x of 0, the next is x of 1, and the next is x of 2. So I'm going to create a new text box here. We're going to have y of 0, our first output, will just be equal to 0.2049 from our diagram times x of 0, which is going to be equal to 0.2049 times 0.1024 in MATLAB. I just wrote that out like that, so I can just quickly copy and paste it into MATLAB, which is 0.0210. So that's y of 0. Next we're going to have y of 1, which will be equal to 0.2049 times x of 1 plus 0.4097 times x of 0. And then we won't have a third one because we haven't populated that delay yet. And then we're going to have our y0 times 0 point plus y0 times 0.3774 times y 0. So now I'll just write that out quickly so that we can put that into MATLAB. Actually, I'm gonna do that on the calculator. So 0.2049 times x of 1, which was x0, x1, 0.0999, and we're going to be adding that to 0.4097 times x of 0, which is 0.1024, because we have our delay. That's our delay there on the x side, and now we have another delay, which is our 0.3774 times 0.0210, which is our y0. And then we're just adding all these together. So I'll quickly just throw a little plus in there. So that makes more sense. And then that's going to be equal to, so I'm just going to do this on MATLAB quickly. So I'll just copy and paste this, Control Z, paste that in, get rid of these brackets. Shouldn't need them from MATLAB. And then our y1 is equal to 0.0703. We'll put that here there. So finally, our y2 is going to be equal to 0.2049 times x of 2 plus 0.4097 times x of 1 plus 0.2049 times x of 0, and then we're going to be adding on our delays on the y side, which is going to be 0.3774 times y of 1 plus minus 0.1969 times y of 0. And that is going to be equal to 0.2049 times x of 2, which is 0.0876. Plus 0.4097 by x of 1. X of 1 is 0.0999. 0.2049 times x of 0, which is 0.1024. And then we have our y side, which is 0.3774 times y of 1, which was 0.0703 minus 0.1969 times y0, which is 0.0210. And then that y2 is going to be equal to I'm just going to make this a bit more visible. Y2 is going to be equal to, let's try this into MATLAB real quick. Control C, MATLAB, Control V. I'm just going to edit this so it makes sense for MATLAB. And then that should give us our answer here, which is 0.1023. So now I just want to check in MATLAB that we get, when we filter the signal, we get the same answers as we worked out here by hand. So I'm going to use filter. We're going to use our B and our A. And then we're going to use that on our signal on the first three inputs, which is 1:3. And then if I do that, I'm actually just going to display answer 0.0210. I'll just get this 0.0210. That's correct there. Y1 0.0703. 0.0703. That's correct. And then 0.1023. 0.1023. Yeah, so they all worked out correct there. So now I'm just going to filter the entire signal and say that as Y is equal to filter B, A, and sig. And that should save our filtered signal under Y. Yeah, we have Y over here, and then we can display the first three values of our filtered signal using Y1:3, and they should be the exact same 0.0. Yep, they're all the exact same. Okay, so next I'm going to design a minimum order filter which will reduce the high frequency noise by at least 60 dB with a maximum of 3 dB ripple allowed in the passband. And then the passband is going to go from 0 Hertz to fs/4 Hertz. fs/4 is 0.5 in normalized frequency. So I'm going to do that now. We'll use N and omega, which will be equal to, we're just going to use the butter-ord function. And then we are going to put in our passband frequency, which is 0.5. We're going to put in our noise cutoff, which was 17547. And then we will divide that by fs/2 to normalize it, and then we have our 3 dB ripple and our 60 our reduction of 60 dB, and then just a little spelling mistake. It's butter-ord, and then our N should be 7, which is our order, and then omega is the frequency we should use when using the butter function, which is 0.5365. So then I'm going to assign the filter. So our B and our A is going to be equal to butter N and omega. And that should create our filter now. Next, I will design a second filter to reduce the tone by at least 40 dB, and we're also going to ensure that that is stable. So we're going to need different coefficients for this. So we will use B1 and A1 as our coefficients, and we're going to use the butter function again, and we're going to make we're going to create a bandstop filter, and we're going to try a high order filter for a sharp roll off rate. So we'll put the order in 10, it's fairly high, and then we will put in our tone frequency, which was 1905 minus 50, and then 1905 plus 50, and then we need to normalize that, divided by fs over 2, and the minus 50 and plus 50 are going to filter out a region of 100 Hertz in total. And then we need to make that a bandstop filter. So we use stop for a bandstop filter. We'll check that works. That character vector is not terminated properly. Yes, I'm just missing a comma here. Try that. Yep. And then we're going to make sure it's stable, so we can use Z-plane to visualize the filter. So Z-plane B1 A1. Let's see what that looks like. Oops, we have that here. This is unstable. There's some poles outside the unit circle, so to fix that we can lower the order of the filter. So I'm just going to take this and we'll lower this to, we'll try 5, see if that works, and then Z-plane, how's that worked? Yeah, all our poles are inside the unit circle, so this filter is stable. So now I'm just going to make sure that this attenuates frequencies by 40 dB. So we can use, we need to take our tone frequency, which is 1905, divide that by fs over 2 to normalize, and then we can use freq z visualize b1 a1, and then so we get a smooth plot. We're just going to change the sampling points to 10,000 and have a look at that now. So we can see that this doesn't actually work, which is interesting. So I'm just going to have a little mess around. Maybe change the order of the filter, and just see if I can fix that, because it doesn't seem to be attenuating enough. So if we remake this filter 1905, we have that right. So what I'm going to do is I'll just change the order, see if that will fix that. Then I can just check here that if we look at it again, yeah, there we go, changing the order seemed to work. So our frequencies around 0.0864, yeah, they're definitely attenuated by more than 40 dB. Perfect. So now I'm going to apply both filters to the combined signal and plot the magnitude frequency content of the input and output in Hertz. So I'm first going to use the first filter. So we're going to use y is equal to filter b a, these are the coefficients of the first filter, and sig, we're going to be filtering sig. And then we are going to filter y through the second filter. So we're going to use y1 now, and we're going to use our second filter's coefficients, which were b1 and a1, and we're going to be filtering y, which is the output of the first filter, putting that into the second filter to filter through the second filter as well. And then we're going to create a frequency axis using, we're going to call it fax, is equal to, it's going to be 0 to the length of IP minus 1. Length, sorry, I keep forgetting to press the shift here, length of IP minus 1. And then we are going to divide by length IP multiplied by fs, and then we'll get a frequency axis in Hertz, hopefully. And next we are going to plot frequency axis ABS, the absolute value of FFT of our signal. That should be right there. And then we should get a plot. Yep, that's worked there. And then we're plotting the original signal there, and we're going to hold on to add our new signal that's been filtered. So we're going to plot fax ABS FFT. So we're plotting it against the frequency axis, FFT, and then our filtered signal is called Y1. 1, 2, 3, and have a look at this now. Okay, so in blue we have our original signal, and then in orange we have our filtered signal. So we've got our speech down here, which is brilliant. We needed to keep that. Here in blue we have our tone frequency. So we can see that that's being attenuated here, which is brilliant again. In orange, that's the filtered signal. And we can also see down here that the signal has been attenuated here, which is great. So that should hopefully have worked. I'm also, just for that plot there, I'm going to label the y axis using the function y label. And that's going to be our magnitude on the y-axis Just have to check my spelling, it's not great. And then on the x-axis we're going to use the function xLabel, and that is going to be our frequency in Hertz. Oh, can't forget these. Frequency in Hertz. And then hopefully that should have labeled the axes, so we'll just check that real quick. Yep, magnitude on the y-axis and frequency in Hertz on the x-axis. So now I'm going to identify a low frequency component that will produce a significant phase shift in the first filter. So I'm going to use, we're just going to close that last plot, and then we're going to use freq z b and a, which is the first filter, to get the frequency response of the first filter. So we can see that here, and then I'm going to look for a low frequency component with a phase shift of about 45 degrees. That's because a low frequency sinusoid looks a lot better compared to a high frequency sinusoid, as there's more samples per cycle for low frequency sinusoids. So look around here, see if I can find minus 45. Zoom in a bit there, it's just around here, it looks like minus 45. Okay, that's going to be close enough there. So we get a phase shift of minus 45 at the frequency, the normalized frequency of 0.123. 0.47 to be accurate there, and then if I multiply 0.123047, multiply that by fs over 2, so we can get the actual frequency. So we have that there, that's 2,713.2. I might actually just, if I change this to just 1.23, uh, 0.12. There we go. We get 2,646 Hertz. So we'll create a tone at cos 2 times pi times 2,646 times t, our time vector. We've created a tone, and then we're going to call y. We're going to run that tone through our filter, be a tone. Now, just close that last plot, and then we'll plot our tone. And we'll plot the filter tone on top of that. Hold on, and then plot y. Now, just check that that's worked. Yep, so I'm just going to pan around and see if I can do horizontal pan. Sorry, we're going to zoom in actually, horizontal zoom. There we go. So I can look here. Yep, that looks about 45 degrees there. So that's pretty good. So we can actually just check that that is a 45 degrees phase shift here. If we do 360 divided by our angle, which is 45 degrees, that'll give us a percentage of the waveform, which is 8. So that means that 1/8 of the waveform would be a shift of 45 degrees if they're off by that much. So that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that does look about an 8 there. So that's should be right. I also just wanted to add in a little bit at the end here, because I think it's good to see that, or even hear our signal with the tone added and the extra noise added. So if we sound our original signal, it sounds like that because we've added the tone and the noise. But if we sound it, our signal after running it through the first filter, we should just be able to hear the tone there over the signal. And then if we sound Y1, which is after running it through the second filter, we should be able to get the original, or close to the original audio file back after it's been run through the filters. I'm just using this here to prove that the filters did work. Crawley.